Second question was, because we've been playing around with the difference between upper body and lower body programming. And if you guys have checked out the programming section, the traveling circus, we approach it differently. The question was, first of all, the coach loved the different approach towards an upper body and lower body programming. So what is the difference and why is there a difference? So the short answer is there's a massive difference in how shoulders and hips should be treated. All right, first things first. The hip is meant to move somewhere. Think about squatting, think about deadlifting. Like your hip is going to be, there's somebody joining. Give me a second. Hello. I just keep talking until the handrails. I'll keep talking.
Hello.
So your hip is going to move. Hi, any questions I can answer?
Keep talking.
Sweet.
Do you hear me?
Absolutely, I can hear you. Wait,
Yeah, cool.
I was just starting to talk about, because I got a brilliant question, because we treat the shoulder and the hips differently in terms of programming. So the super short answer is we're going to start shoulder workout and shoulder programming with a lot of body weight movement, and then we're going to slowly build up towards loading the shoulder. And the hip is exactly the opposite. So we're going to load the hips first, and then we're going to finish off with body weight exercises, light work, etc. So let me walk you through it and why we're doing this. So the hip itself is going to move somewhere. So that means whether you're squatting, deadlifting, or even just walking, like your hip per se, the whole thing is going to move somewhere. So at first we need to stabilize the hips, and you're going to probably hear me talk about this 1,000 more times. Is get your neutral hips first, and then make that neutral hips go somewhere. So that's how we start loading the hips first. Super simple example is we're going to start with a carry. So your hips basically just have to stabilize walking. And then we're going to move on from, let's say, a carry into a carry and squat. And then we're going to move from a carry and squat into squatting with a barbell. And then we're going to finish it off with body weight movement. One thing I realized in my own program is when I start doing body weight exercises with my lower body, let's say lunges or air squats, my lower back always gets fried up like super fast, just because for my hip, it's way easier to get loaded first and then use that loaded movement, those loaded muscles, to actually being transformed and used in body weight movement. And the shoulder is exactly the opposite. Like your shoulder needs a lot of movement first. When I say body weight movement first, that doesn't mean it doesn't need any like light loading, so to speak, but it needs less loading first, and then we're going to move into the heavy stuff. So how does it look for the shoulder? We're always going to start with a couple of push-ups, a couple of dips, a couple of light pulling work, slowly build up the shoulder, and the heavy work, let's say heavy Yates rows or even rope pulls, come afterwards. So that's how the shoulder works. The shoulder itself can do a lot of movement, but the shoulder is not going to move somewhere, if that kind of makes sense. So if the shoulder blades are moving, like your big arm bone is moving, but the shoulder itself is very limited in terms of your center of mass. Like your shoulder is not going to, like compared to your hips, it's not going to move like half a meter somewhere to the front or to the back. And that's how I came up with treating your shoulder and treating the lower body differently. You have all the programming, all the sequences on the traveling circus if you guys want to figure it out on your own, or just do the 3 templates that I came up with, and it's going to fix itself. So we have the hip template, the Holy Hip Healer, which includes everything I ever talked about. We have the Sexy Shoulder Saver, which has that sequence in there, and we have the Tremendous Trunk Treat, which is overly going to fix your trunk and all the issues it comes with it.